Hi there, folks. This is Mark, one of the staff writers here at Digital Startup Lifestyle Magazine. I'm so glad you dropped in today. Well, folks, I hope you're able to see my two recent videos that chronicled my technical digital issues while I was visiting East Texas. That's the video in the story Remote Work Woes When Your Tech Lets You Down, Part 1, and the most recent Best Laid Plans, Part 2 of 2. This is a little interim in this series, just to take a few minutes to caution you about something that we all rely on. This digital debacle is still fresh in my mind, and I'm still upset by it all in general. Maybe I need to be more resilient like Mohammed from Digital Startup Lifestyle and be a little bit more resilient, let things roll off. I tend to take things a little too personal and I take them a little too hard sometimes, and I spend a lot of energy trying to understand how to fix something before I ask anybody else. It's a bit of a character flaw when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Sometimes you have to ask others in the know, and they're usually very happy to help, as you should be when someone asks you for help. So, with that said, we all have these great digital devices. We've got recorders, we've got cell phones, we've got tablets, we've got cell phones, we've got doodads and whatsits. Now, my word of caution to everyone, and we as a group here, the folks that would be reading this, you, the audience of Digital Startup Lifestyle Magazine, we all have a lot of our personal information and our life's details tied up in our cell phones. We have come to rely on this instead of paper notes, personal memory, and calendars and things like that. It's been condensed into this great little digital triangle here. Huh, it's not a triangle, it's a rectangle. Anyway, I'm thinking about triangles, maybe Dorito chips. Who knows what? It's a rectangle. It's a miracle. It does so many amazing and wonderful things, and it can be such a great tool and a force for good. My personal experience getting my Samsung Note 20 updated to a Samsung Note 24 Ultra, blah, 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 XYZ model, is the older model had a decent stated memory of, I don't know, 256 gigabytes, plus it had an SD card for additional memory, and it had a good amount of RAM to begin with. Let me say that things like the SD card storage scheme aren't cracked up to be what they could be. The way data and optional extras are stored on your phone is capricious, at least, and you don't have a lot of control over exactly where that stuff goes. So, in the course of the last year, my phone began filling up, and I would get the warnings and so on. I would take my photos, my videos, and documents, and I put them on my computer, and of course, back them up. And as time went by, no matter how much I removed, I got up to the verge of 99% full. How'd this happen? Well, it took a bit of research, and it took a bit of these tech resources to help from both Verizon and Samsung, and I invested the better part of a workday in telephone calls and tech assistance. And I'm glad I did, because what I learned I can share with you. Maybe save you the stress and hassle of what I experienced. Maybe you have some of these issues on your own phone. Without giving all the superfluous details, let's say my Note 20 and whatever phone you have has 40 apps on it, and your memory is getting full, and you get the prompts to do something with those extras that you have. Well, you can move them, and if your memory stays the same and you wonder, wow, that's not even a percent of my phone's memory that's being eaten up after I move these things, what's doing all of this? Well, we will discover in just a moment the real cause of this nonsense. And let me say, for round figures, that my phone with a 256 memory was going to be replaced with a 1 terabyte memory. And logic would have you believe that, well, I can simply transfer everything over to the new phone because there's 4 times as much memory. But it doesn't work that way. course it doesn't. The transfer process includes certain backups, and the core of your phone is your contacts, your messages, your histories, and of course, you want to keep at least the majority of your apps, or you wouldn't have put them on the phone in the first place. Or so you tell yourself. Ah, so that doesn't work. Just moving 256 to 4 times the memory space. Uh, yeah, about that. In a nutshell, what happened is I deleted 39 apps from my Note 20. Wow, I didn't realize I had 39 apps on there that I hadn't used for a year or more, and that didn't even make a dent in the memory percent full, removing or freeing up the space in the phone's memory for transfer. So when I got together with the appropriate tech support, we went through every single app and I deleted 40 more. That's 79 apps. That's what it took to free up enough memory to get it down into the low 80s of percentage so the transfer could happen. So after all is done and said, all that technical stuff is water under the bridge. The new phone has been activated, and I'm getting the details right on the phone finally. You know, it's kind of like your sock drawer. You have your sock drawer and you're a nut about the order of your socks. You want your dress socks in one corner, you want your blue socks in the other, you want your short athletic socks in the front, etc. Whenever you get a new phone, no matter what, things are just totally out of order. You don't even have your own socks in the drawer. There's somebody else's, or at least that's what it feels like. So you got to spend some time and get it back to normal or something that suits you. And that includes some of my personal favorites, such as the voice to text functions like Google, which in my opinion is superior to things like Samsung voice to text because of the high error rates. But that's just my personal experience. Yours may be different. In the course of my mass deletions, I really did remove apps that I really do need. And of course, I've had to download them again. So it won't let you transfer financial information apps that you have. You have to start that on a new phone and deactivate it on the other one, sign back in, and so on and so forth for good reason. Where this has gotten me with the new phone is now I am in a situation where I have a known good SIM card, which was one of my issues in East Texas, and poor coverage. And on top of that, the entire area had abysmal upload and download speeds on the internet in general. Now I have the ultra wave format on my new phone versus 3G, 4G, 5G, and on this phone, and hopefully more people will be able to take advantage of this new format soon. It's spotty where I live now in the Tampa Bay area, but I'm looking forward to much faster internet speeds everywhere in my local area. So now I'm posed with the question of what do I do with all this new technology? Well, of course, I want to use my hotspot, take my laptop and go wherever, sit down at the end of the street, across the country, go to a park, go across the state or a remote area that still has cell service, and be able to produce my videos, write stories, fulfill this notion of having a business in a box, whether it's your cell phone or your laptop or wherever you have a connection. If you're listening to me and you live in an urban area, a well developed urban area in the United States, you're probably like me and many other people. We're very, very spoiled. We get almost everything we want right now, and we can get the information we need right now. But there are places in our own country and throughout the world where you just don't have good service. It's an international information blackout in places, and I suppose the locals just have to deal with it. Now, that's a whole other subject for another time. Anyway, folks, I just want to wrap things up today by saying examine the apps on your phone. Very likely, that's a source of high memory consumption. Keep your photos backed up, your videos, your documents, move them off your phone and to a place if you don't need them, where you can still access them at some point in the future. Keep them in a secure place. But the apps on your phone may very well be the sneaky things that are eating up all your phone memory, and you don't even realize it. And if you do get to critical mass like I did, you're just going to be stuck and hate life. So do it now before it becomes painful. And if you haven't used an app in 6 months or a year, you probably aren't going to use it again. Just remove it from the phone. All right, everybody have a wonderful, productive week, and we here at Digital Startup Lifestyle Magazine are cheering for you. We know you can do it because we're doing it. Mark, signing off for now. Have a beautiful day, folks.